Thanks, John. The Boston Marathon is tomorrow here in Boston, but the Stanley Cup Playoff Marathon kicks off tonight between the Bruins and the Sabres. Each marathon equally grueling. Time now for a look at the starting goaltenders, brought to you by Thrifty, the official car rental company of the NHL. Grant Fuhr, Mr. Playoff, he has been known as throughout his career. We'll see if he can spark a little bit of magic for the Buffalo Sabres. Been a long time since they've had a money goaltender in the playoffs. And at the other end, Andy Moog, who has been absolutely sensational. He has played in the last 54 Boston Bruins postseason games. You know he's going to see the lion's share of action all the way through this year. The referee is Don Koharski. On the line, Swede Knox and Brad Lazarowicz. Ray Bourque will pump it down and on goal. And the playoffs underway at the Garden. Great to have you with us. Grant Ledyard lugging the puck up to center for the Sabres. Area was tight roping along the line trying to come in. And Alexander Mogilny out there front and center, number 89. Here's Poulin. Roughed up along the boards, twisted down to the ice by Area. And Koharski right on top of things right off the bat. You'll see a lot of this. It's going to be a tough series.
Well, Brian Sutter gets the last line change here tonight. And you just know that he's got the opportunity to do a lot of anything that the Buffalo Sabres want to do. Bodies flying very early in this game. Mogilny going to the penalty box for that trip.
Gary, talking to both coaches earlier during the skates today and just before the game. Sutter extremely confident, and his counterpart John Muckler almost defensive about his team's past history in the playoffs.
Well, I think that John Muckler is right. A lot of these Buffalo Sabres didn't have anything to do with the past.
And yet it hangs over them like a sword, and they wear it around their necks like a millstone. The Sabres have not won a playoff series in 10 years. They beat the Montreal Canadiens in 3 straight all the way back in the 1983 playoff season, and then they were beaten out by the Boston Bruins. Ray Bourque was on that Boston team, and he lugs the puck up to center. Moves it up on the wing now. Wesley trying to dance his way in. Here's Bourque. Juneau. Down low, Neely's in front. 1:17 to go in the power play. Neely, watch closely. Juneau punches one just wide. And it's finally zipped down the ice by Colin Patterson. 1 minute, 5 seconds to go in the man advantage for the Boston Bruins. We are just underway, 0-0 hockey game. Bourque, Neely and Juneau up there with him.
Presley, one of the best penalty killers for the Buffalo Sabres. Likes to force in deep. That's what he was doing on that last shift.
Here comes Neely trying to barge his way through, but the door was closed up before he could make it through. Bourque will wing it around the boards. 42 seconds to go in the power play. Fuhr up to Presley, and he had just enough room to get it down the ice with 34 seconds to go on the man advantage. Bruins will make some line changes on the fly. Bourque gets it up ahead. Leach trying to come in. He finds the sledding pretty tough against Grant Ledyard. Shaw moving in from the point. Trying to chop it loose up there with Oates. Kvartalnov going after it. Ledyard heads him off at the pass and gets the puck up over the boards. And 9 seconds now remaining in the man advantage for Boston.
John Muckler's team have got some pretty good things going for them. One of them is penalty killing. They're the 3rd best in the National Hockey League. John Muckler has gone to, well, some revisions to play against the Boston Bruins. I guess he had to. They lost those last 4 games, but yet John Muckler didn't feel that in the last part of the season that his team played that poorly. The last 7 games, they didn't win. He still felt that they played reasonably well. You look at those last 2 games against the Boston Bruins, for example. Close games, 3-0, 3-2.
And we're seeing a good example here of what did go well for the Sabres this year, and that's penalty killing, Gary. It was the 3rd best in the league. Sweeney. Knocked away. Hannon will charge up after it, but won't get there nearly in time. Moog gives it away. Incredible. Unbelievable.
Dave Hannon can't believe what he got. A gift. Andy Moog goes to play it. He went to sweep it around behind the net. Instead, it ends up hitting the side of the net, and Dave Hannon just breezed right by him. What a way to start. Good break for the Sabres, bad one for the Bruins.
Hannon gets the goal and give an unofficial assist to Andy Moog. LaFontaine stops at the line. Airy up there, and the puck is squirted out offside, called in the Buffalo Sabres. And you talk about bounces and breaks and what a huge factor that can be in the postseason. I mean, talk about something to give you a nice jump start, some momentum in opposition ice.
That's exactly what we saw Dave Hannon doing, jumping. And that might just be the start for the Buffalo Sabres. They've got to feel coming out of the season that they just haven't had things going for them, obviously. So they look for any type of positives they possibly can. That might just have been one, killing off the penalty and picking up a goal.
That was not a shorthanded goal, by the way. Time had just expired in the Buffalo power play. Here's Keith Carney. Over to Bodger. Leach watching him. Patterson. Double team, but he gets the puck up towards center. Leach with it now. Taking a look. Kvartalnov breaking for the front of the net. Leach looking for Kvartalnov there at the side. He's tied up. Leach takes the scenic route all the way around and tried to get it back to Roberts, but Roberts has to chase it down back in his own end. Weimer. Up along the boards, Bodger flips it right back in for the Sabres. 16:40 to go first period, 1-0. Buffalo leading on a gift goal. Andy Moog gave the puck away to Dave Hannon, who tucked it into a wide open net. Kvartalnov up for Leach, chopped away from him by Patterson. This is Weimer now. And play is called, an elbowing penalty coming up. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on the NHL tonight.
It's uniquely refreshing. It's naturally clear. It has no artificial color, no artificial flavors, and no caffeine. What is it? 7-Up. The original clear beverage. Nothing could be more refreshing.
Super crisp, super spirals. McCain, what have you done to my fries?
Gary, we both talked about Buffalo's penalty killing being the third best in the NHL. The power play, another story. It was kind of middle of the pack, 10th best. And we'll see what the Sabres can do on this man advantage.
Bruins have got pretty decent specialty teams. 6th best killing penalties.
Mogilny wires it up around the boards. LaFontaine looking for it. Here's Bodger. Mogilny parked down in front. Over to LaFontaine. Bodger, top of the point, shoots. Tipped in front. Moog will hang on. Himmeliev was parked right down in front, looking to redirect it or pick up a loose puck.
Not much surprise is there that Pat LaFontaine is leading in points on the power play, but Dale Hawerchuk has been very active in that role as well. Alexander Mogilny's 27 goals, however, leads the power play for the Sabres. One key to the Sabres right now in this series is they've got to move that puck around very quickly when they do get power play opportunities. Sabres have had a good jump in this game tonight, though. They're skating. They're very quick when they're moving the puck. They know they have to do that in this building against the Bruins. In their building as well, of course.
Talk about Dale Hawerchuk. As per usual, he's back at the right point for the power play. Over there cutting off the puck now. Hawerchuk tried to fire it in. Gets an unfriendly bounce off the skates of Adam Oates. 1:15 to go in the power play for the Sabres. And Buffalo leading 1-0. Dave Hannon with the goal at the 2:32 mark. Here comes Hawerchuk. Across for Mogilny. Himmeliev after it down, number 13 for the Sabres. Sweeney knocks it away. Bodger charging up, couldn't keep it in. 55 seconds to go in the man advantage for Buffalo. And the Bruins will make a quick change in the fly with Hawerchuk back to fetch.
Bodger's good at shooting the puck from the point, and he likes to pinch in, but he's not great at rushing the puck on the power play.
Mogilny to Odette, trying to sneak it in the side, forced to the outside. Here's Holder, all the way across to Hawerchuk. Didn't have a shot. LaFontaine. Odette looking for it. Hawerchuk will move in from the point. Back to Mogilny, shooting it. Big play there as Hines slid across. And the Bruins will finally carry it out. This is Donato coming back. He's got Hines with him. Donato, right in. Great work by Donato.
Well, Brian Sutter's got lots of people on the bench that he can go to. Donato's just one of those forwards that he can go to that he knows he's going to get a good solid effort out of. Hines was right there looking for a rebound. Grant Fuhr wasn't about to give one up.
Sutter just in his element at this time of the year.
What a stretch they had. 14 wins, no losses, no ties in the Adams division. No other team in the National Hockey League had as good a record against their own division as did the Boston Bruins. They were just awesome in the Adams division.
Bourque shoots. Fuhr stared him down that time. Ledyard. Sutton trying to come up to May. Back to Grant Ledyard. Oates up there pursuing him. Here's Sutton. Juneau almost took it away. Ledyard with May breaking up the middle. Ledyard will carry now. He dishes off to May coming in. Sweeney trying to break in there. Here's Sweeney. Down low with May breaking for the front of the net. This is Brad May down in the corner. He's pulled down. Sweeney up there after it. Finally, it's knocked away by Weimer. Roberts up there with Neely. And Neely will charge into the corner against Sutton. He bumps him along the boards. Ledyard to May. And May will just dump it off. John Muckler wanted to make some changes. Hannon watching Neely there along the boards. Oates. Juneau. Hannon knocks that down. Oates tripped him and then looked sympathetically towards the referee, hoping for a call. Here's Presley. Hannon. Presley knocks it down, looking for someone in front. Hannon sneaking into the slot. There's Botcher shooting one in. Moog no problem stopping that chest-high blast. Cam Neely to Shaw. And that will ricochet off the blocker of Fuhr up into the crowd. We'll return to this Molson Canadian hockey telecast right after this.
Time for a quick update. Patrick Semi, Landover, Maryland. Washington mistake, Islander goal. And here it is, Ray Ferraro using Benoit Hogue as a decoy to beat Rick Tabaracci in close. 1-0. The Islanders have the lead on the Capitals. It's early in the first. Paul?
Thanks, John. John Wells, Bob McKenzie watching all the other playoff action throughout the playoffs in TSN.
Here's where Brian Sutter's last line change right now is an advantage to him. LaFontaine's lines out on the ice, and that brings Davey Poulin, the checker for Brian Sutter that played in all 84 games this season, and what a good season Dave Poulin had.
Well, let's see how quickly John Muckler tries to change things up to get LaFontaine away from the people he doesn't want them anywhere near, and that is the Bruins' big line.
The real advantage is when you have that line change and it's in the defensive zone. The Sabres are back taking the draw.
Here comes Peter Duras on the move. Trying to cut to the outside. Kearney had him lined up, and they collide down in the corner. Delayed penalty coming up. And it's going to be an elbowing call. So the Bruins with another chance in the power play. Bob Airy heading off.
Bob Airy coming across from the Pittsburgh Penguins. For Mike Ramsey, Bob Airy said, sure didn't get a lot of ice time when you play on a team with as much talent as the Pittsburgh Penguins had. Duras was heading into the corner, and you could see Airy just come across your screen and get a piece of Peter Duras, but with the elbow.
Well, Keith Carney kind of had Duras squeezed to the outside and teed him up nicely there for Airy. A little too nicely, evidently. Here's Bourque. Gets it back across. Wesley fires it in. Wesley. Neely up there. Juneau back along the boards trying to knock down a loose puck. Bourque keeps it in, shooting it. And that's tipped up over the glass. And amongst the spectators with 1:42 to go in the power play. Wesley and Bourque back there at the blue line. Just poetry to watch them work the power play.
Adam Oates, the big leader for the Boston Bruins on the power play, but Raymond Bourque, who didn't have a good first half of the season, but boy, has he come on like gangbusters in the last half of the season. Of course, Joe Juneau, what a rookie season he's had with his club. John Muckler, of course, wanted to try and have his team key in on Raymond Bourque. They felt if they could get on Bourque early in this series, then they might wear him down a bit. And obviously a good strategy, but one that's difficult to do. Raymond Bourque's used to a lot of ice time, and he also can take the heavy going.
And as much as you talk about the big offensive numbers, which so many people tend to dwell on when you talk about Raymond Bourque, his coach Brian Sutter says unquestionably Bourque is at his best when the other team has the puck, not when the Bruins have it. Bourque trying to move it across. Hannon got a piece of it, but look at that. Bourque keeps it in. Waiting for some help now. Back to Wesley. Shoots. Knocked down in front. Juneau was up there, but he'd overskated the loose puck. Juneau now along the boards. Oates in front for Neely. That's tapped out of harm's way. Oates trying to go back through the slot for Bourque. Here's Juneau. Bodger watching him. Neely down low in front. Wesley to Bourque to Wesley. Shooting it. Blocked at the defense and quickly flicked out. 55 seconds to go in the power play. Bourque up ahead for Wesley. Ledyard intercepts that. 44 seconds to go in the man advantage for Boston. Bruins trailing 1-0. Dave Hannon scoring for Buffalo at 2:32. Here's Shaw. And a slashing call coming up. It is going to go against David Shaw. He got tangled up with Kent Sutton right along the boards.
Kaharski trying to keep a handle on this early. Watch this play. Sutton just gave him a little tap initially, and then the retaliation came back by David Shaw. He got the retaliation penalty for slashing.
So the teams will be at even strength for the next 31 seconds. And then the Buffalo Sabres will go on the power play.
So a little bit more open ice right now, and that's definitely to the advantage of Pat LaFontaine and Alexander Mogilny out on the ice now.
Sutton being badgered up there by Smolinski. And here comes LaFontaine. Up to Sutton. Team still at even strength for the next 14 seconds. Smolinski being watched by Mogilny, tries to pick his pocket. He does. Sutton moving into the slot, but Mogilny couldn't get it to him. Scores! LaFontaine.
Whoa, this has sure quieted the Boston Garden, hasn't it? Pat LaFontaine standing right in front of Andy Moog. But it's Alexander Mogilny that has possession of the puck. Watch this. Mogilny keeps possession of it. A couple of Bruins looking at him, but don't do anything. He just turns and fires the puck towards the net. Let's watch here. Here comes Mogilny right at you, but watch Pat LaFontaine. Once Mogilny turns, there's LaFontaine standing right on top of Andy Moog.
So a negative turned into a positive because initially Mogilny, I think, wanted to get it to Ken Sutton, who was moving in from the point wide open in the slot, but the puck kind of bounced on his stick when he tried to pass it. And Moog's going to hang on to that as LaFontaine goes to the net, literally. That goal coming while the teams were still at even strength, and Buffalo now with a power play for the next minute and 10 seconds. So the bounces going the Sabres' way for sure in this first period, going right back to Dave Hannon's goal at 2:32, and Andy Moog handed him a gift.
Pat LaFontaine was up for this series. He had a good jump before the game tonight. When he was walking in the hallway outside of the dressing room, he just seemed to have that spark, as of course he usually does. 53 goals this season, 95 assists. Only one other season did he ever score more goals. That was 54 goals for the New York Islanders one season.
Ray Bourque. Here comes Don Sweeney. And that's tipped up over the glass, a no to play with 59 seconds still to go in the power play for the Sabres.
Don Sweeney not happy with his move, but Don Sweeney's got to be pretty pleased with the way that the Bruins have played this season, and himself. Don Sweeney's been a very important part of the Boston Bruins back in the blue line. I know that Brian Sutter was a little leery on Don Sweeney early in the season, especially at training camp, and Harry Sinden was the first to say, hey, just hang on, be a little patient. This guy will really grow on you. Grow on him. He has. Brian Sutter thinks the world of Don Sweeney.
Here's Dale Hawerchuk for Buffalo. Hawerchuk will carry it up. Mogilny and LaFontaine. And that is broken up. Sweeney will just draw it back down the ice. 40 seconds to go in the power play for Buffalo. This is Bodger. Mogilny trying to get to it. Chopped away. Here's Hawerchuk. Looking for some help, but he is just overrun. Hines for Sweeney, for Hines, shooting it! Fuhr stood his ground. 13 seconds to go on the power play. Himliev sends it in. Here's Sutton. Just gives that away. Roberts. Just feathering it down into Buffalo territory, and the team's back at even strength.
Buffalo's got to be a little quicker in their transition game. They had a good opportunity when the Bruins got caught deep. Didn't move it out of their own end zone quickly enough.
Here's Tim Sweeney with a foray down deep. Leach up there with him. Smolinski down into the corner. Sweeney up there looking for Smolinski now along the boards. Leach just sends it up around the boards. Wesley and Leach crashing around in there. And it's Sutton who comes away with it to Odette. And Moog will just park it back there for Wesley. Wood tied up in the play. Smolinski will start back for the Bruins. And the Bruins and Sabres both make player changes. Teams at even strength, 8:10 to go in the first period. And it is 2-0, the Buffalo Sabres leading. Hannon and LaFontaine with the goal. Leach to Oates. Oates knocked down. Weimer after it in the corner. Here's Shaw. Weimer's in front, rolls it through. Leach with a chop at it. That's knocked away. Shaw along the boards, can't keep it in. Icing waved off. Here's Shaw. Juneau. And Carney just wraps him up. Here's Neely now, looking for Oates. Oates coming in to help out. Neely. And a penalty coming up. It'll be a roughing call. Live on TSN. This is the NHL tonight. Hey, Gary, I mean, the fans absolutely loved it, but I'm not sure Brian Sutter thought much of Cam Neely's roughing penalty.
Cam Neely was aggressive in front of the net, but now Brian Sutter's team has got to kill off another Sabre power play.
Oh, Neely was just battling away, tooth and nail down on the corner. Himliev doesn't get much further than the top of the slot. Bodger up for Himlev, number 13. Sweeney knocks it away from him. Here's Hawerchuk. Has to wait for his mates to get on side. Didn't quite wait long enough. Himlev was caught in there. And offside called on Buffalo with 1:33 to go in their power play. 7:02 to go in the first period. 2-0 for the Sabres.
Neely says he's ready to play every game in playoffs. Once he returned, he was playing about every other game for Brian Sutter.
Played 13 of the last 24. Of course, missed the first 60 games with that knee injury that was a result of a thigh injury from last year's playoffs. Here's Bodger. Lots of time to go in this power play. And Bodger will just rattle it in around the boards. Carney knocked right off the puck. LaFontaine up there trying to knock it loose. Bruins pretty aggressive penalty killing. Hawerchuk. Over for Bodger. 54 seconds to go.
Whenever you have a forward back playing the point on the power play, you like to add some additional aggressiveness in your forechecking in that zone. When they go back to set up, you want to get on them.
And Hawerchuk coughs it up there. Donato comes in. Hines up there to help him out. Donato and Hines have looked great penalty killing in this first period for the Boston Bruins. Created a couple of scoring chances. Poulin just fires it wide.
Poulin really ran into Pat LaFontaine, sent him flying.
And the Sabres really look rattled. Pardon the pun. 8 seconds to go in the power play. And offside, a couple of steps ahead was Randy Wood.
Just 5 seconds left in Cam Neely's penalty. Dave Poulin upset at himself. But he had a pretty good shift for the Bruins.
And for a guy who likes to go out and bang and crash around, and we got a good look at his style of play right there, Gary. Kind of unusual that he played every single game this year. It's the first time in his 10-year career that he did that.
He couldn't be happier about it, Paul, because there were a lot of questions coming into this season about Dave Poulin. Not by the Boston Bruins as far as his integrity and his desire to play the game, just as whether his body would be able to hold up and for how many games this season. What a nice answer he's given them.
Juneau. Schmelik watching him pretty tightly. Here's Brad May. Sweeney right in his back pocket. Juneau battling away with Wood. May, like a bulldog along the boards, just keeps on going. Manages to jar it loose, but Ray Bourque will start back. Here comes Bourque up there with Juneau and Neely. And that's broken up by Ledyard. And after the offside, everybody coming in.
May and Neely mixing it up because Neely didn't like the treatment that May was giving to Raymond Bourque. Sabres playing a pretty aggressive game in this first period.
And it's paid off for them. Buffalo with a 2-0 lead. We'll return to this Molson Canadian hockey telecast right after this. Randy Wood for boarding, and another power play opportunity for the Boston Bruins with 4:56 to go in the first period.
Well, we've said so often specialty teams play such an important part, especially when you get to playoffs. There's the call on Wood. Raymond Bourque came in to help his teammate out, and that's when May took objection to it, and so did Cam Neely.
So far, all going exactly as Muckler would like to see it go.
The biggest questions that have been asked about John Muckler's team is whether they're gritty enough in their own end zone. And you know, playing the Boston Bruins, you're going to have lots of opportunity to have that question answered.
You think there's a lot of pressure on John Muckler as a coach? I mean, this is his team certainly more so than the Edmonton Oilers were, and if the Sabres don't have some success soon, people are going to start going, maybe John just rode on Glenn Sather's coattails all those years.
I think John Muckler feels it.
1:37 to go on the power play.
What a season Adam Oates has had, because he really showed that he can be a great goal scorer as well as a playmaker. He scored 45 goals this season. The most goals he's ever scored before that was with the St. Louis Blues when he scored 25. There you see where Adam Oates ended up. Scoring leaders for the National Hockey League, right behind Pat LaFontaine. And of course, Mario the Magnificent, playing a lot fewer games, ended up winning the scoring title. What a game Mario Lemieux had again this afternoon.
He is just so head and shoulders above every other player in the world.
Think about head and shoulders. That's exactly what just happened out there. Colin Patterson, he went head and shoulders right into the boards.
1:20 to go on the Bruins power play. This is Ray Bourque up to Neely. Boston trailing by a score of 2-0. Dave Hannon and Pat LaFontaine scoring for the Buffalo Sabres. And the Bruins looking a little disoriented in the early going in this power play. Oates will come in. Gets it across. Neely breaking through the slot. Schmelik took a chop at him. Here's Bourque. Juneau being watched by Schmelik. Neely in front, almost tipped it home. Here's Juneau for Bourque. Shoots. Sweeney will hustle over and gets it down the ice with 40 seconds to go on the power play.
Every time Oates and Neely have been out there practically tonight, thus far, John Muckler has made sure that he's had Schmelik out there in defense.
Kvartalnov stopped at the line. 25 seconds now to go on the power play. Here's Bourque. Bounced away from him. Himliev almost had the same type of gift that Dave Hannon had earlier on that resulted in the first goal for the Buffalo Sabres. Bourque comes up. Oates and Neely both up there. Here's Shaw. Himliev blocks that, and he'll start back with LaFontaine. And LaFontaine forgets the puck. Neely will pick it up. Up for Kvartalnov.
Too much snow built up along the boards in front of the Sabres bench.
Kvartalnov was bumped around, sent in by Roberts. Poulin throwing himself right into the play. Team's back at even strength. LaFontaine tried to get it up there for Wood. Wood will spin off the check and come in. Shoots one. Moog drops it off.
Wood had that lined up well. He knew where he wanted to go with it. He wasn't far off.
He was right out of the penalty box and right into the play. Mogilny up ahead. LaFontaine giving a bump there as he tried to go outside on Weimer. Schmelik up for LaFontaine. He just missed it. Moog dishes off to Weimer. 2:09 to go first period. 2-0. Buffalo leading the Boston Bruins. Weimer throws it in. Mogilny gets pumped along the boards.
I think more so by his own player, May.
Poulin shoots. Leaf shoots. Back to back. Big stops. And a penalty coming up back behind the play. Right down in front of Grant Fuhr. It'll be an interference call, but is Fuhr up to playoff snuff just yet, do you think?
Well, Donato was right down in front of Fuhr. Here's how it all started with the shot coming from the point. There's the deflection. Now Donato got it initially, but then he couldn't control it. Leach came in, got the shot away. The penalty's going to Schmelik. I think Neely looks as though he's ready to play. He's certainly mean enough right now. He's been playing it pretty aggressively, but the Buffalo Sabres would like nothing more than to continue taking a piece of him, but then they're going to have to pay for it.
He and Ken Sutton have had a couple of good battles going so far tonight. An earlier one down in the corner resulted in a Neely roughing penalty.
Neely likes to wear them out along the boards and in the corner. Then that way, then by the time he gets to the front of the net, he figures he's got them wore down, and if they follow him there, he's going to end up winning possession of the puck.
So the Bruins with another power play chance. Oates, Leach, and Kvartalnov up front. And of course, Ray Bourque back at the point. Here's Bourque shooting it. Leach with a shot. Oates got a chance. And Hannon just kind of collapsing on the puck there, and that draws the wrath of the fans here at the Garden.
Grant Fuhr has really been solid for the Sabres tonight. When he has been challenged, then he's just stood up and made the saves. They're really happy with the acquisition that they made and the way that Grant Fuhr has played. They felt that he's been a real leader. There's Hannon going crashing into the boards and smothering the puck. Grant Fuhr will be a big key to the Sabres' success, if any, in this playoffs.
Well, he really struggled down the stretch, as did the team. 1-7. That's how Fuhr finished things up. However, having said that, talking to a couple of the Buffalo reporters, they are adamant that Fuhr is probably the best Buffalo Sabre player right now down that stretch run when they were losing.
Well, I think in all fairness to the Sabres too in the last stretch run is that they knew who they were going to end up, or where they were going to end up finishing.
Well, they lost the game 6-5 to Detroit, and Fuhr was the first star. How often do you see a first star in a situation like that? Not very. 1:12 to go in the first period, and 1:19 to go in the power play. And it's been a punchless power play for the Boston Bruins in this first period. Oates. Here's Kvartalnov. Bourque, top of the point, works it across now. Donato punching that one wide. Kvartalnov tried to get it back up. Bourque again. And Sweeney knocks it away this time.
Double teaming Bourque when he's got possession of the puck inside the blue. He's having a tough time moving it.
Here comes Bourque. And again runs into trouble. Himliab will just roll it down around back of the Bruins net with 37 seconds to go in the power play. So that will carry over to the second period, providing the Bruins don't score here in the dying seconds of the first. Pass was behind Neely, but he'll catch up to it. Offside is called. 19.4 seconds remaining in the first period. And 28 seconds to go in that Boston power play.
Sutton's one of the crew on the blue line that are kind of under the microscope in this series. Can they handle the grinding that they know they're going to face against the Boston Bruins?
He missed the first 19 games of the year with a broken ankle, but has played gritty in this one so far. First period, as I alluded to earlier, he's had a couple of good battles, in particular with Cam Neely along the boards and down in front of the Sabres net. Juneau. Wesley coming in over the blue line. Couldn't get the pass to him. Bodger will just kill off the remaining seconds of this period. And the Buffalo Sabres take to the dressing room a margin of difference that I'm sure they must have been as surprised as anyone to have at this stage of the game. Up by a score of 2-0 after one. Let's go back to our NHL Control Center now. Here's John Wells.
All right, Paul, ahead in our first intermission. Mario's Magic, 4 points in Game 1 of the Penguins' championship defense this afternoon, plus all the afternoon highlights. Live from playoff control in Toronto, the NHL tonight. After one at the Garden, the Sabres lead the Bruins 2-0 in Game 1 of the Adams semifinal.
So the Boston Bruins will start this period off with a power play for the first 8 seconds. Not sure whether that's an advantage or not. They are 0 for 3 in the power play in the first period. Looked very ordinary with the man advantage.
They're up against good penalty killing.
And I suppose that's a good way to turn a negative into a positive rather than taking it away from the Bruins. Give lots of credit to the Sabres penalty killing. You're absolutely right. It was great in the first period, and Boston's power play is now officially 0 for 4. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wayne Gretzky's favorite pizza, Domino's Pizza. Shots on goal in the first period, a very reserved 8-6 in favor of the Boston Bruins.
Getting ready to go now, and Poulin is back out on the ice, of course, because, well, Pat LaFontaine and Alexander Mogilny are out there.
And LaFontaine wins the draw. Sutton will pick it up. I thought Sutton had a great first period for the Sabres. Donato lost it. LaFontaine comes in, works it across. Airy going after it, looking for LaFontaine or Mogilny. Both were in the vicinity of the net, but Moog will hang on, and LaFontaine gets popped, and that'll draw a crowd.
I think that was Sweeney that popped him.
And Don Kaharski will dish out penalties.
Look at Don Sweeney. Feels that he got popped in the nose as well, and you can see the proof. Let's take a look and see how it started. First of all, in front of Andy Moog, there's LaFontaine. You can see, though, that Sweeney already had the blood on his sweater before that push by Pat LaFontaine, who was holding his nose.
And judging by the amount of blood that was on Sweeney's jersey, I'd say he was cut well before the altercation in front of the net with LaFontaine. So offsetting penalties. That's Tim Sweeney in the penalty box for the Bruins. And he is subbing in for Don Sweeney. Don Sweeney off for repairs. Pick a Sweeney, any Sweeney, center of the penalty box. 3 of them in this game. Tim and Don for the Boston Bruins, and Bob for Buffalo.
Who used to be a Bruin.
A former Bruin, yeah. Here's Mogilny. Teams at even strength. 4-on-4. A little bit of extra room to work it around. Gordy Roberts trying to move it out for the Bruins. Roberts comes out of the crowd with the puck, and he'll start back. Donato breaking up the middle with him. Roberts up to Donato. Poulin in the play as well. Here's Poulin. Donato going through the slot. He'll go down low into the corner now. Here's Donato. Back for Roberts. And Roberts wasn't even close to keeping that in. Offside called on the Bruins.
That pass came outside the blue while Roberts was standing there. Roberts, one of the defensemen for the Bruins with that playoff experience.
Of course, the Stanley Cups with Pittsburgh, but also he got to the finals with Minnesota way back in 1981. When the North Stars were an up-and-coming young team. Whatever happened to that up-and-coming young team? Remember, though, Hartsburg, McCarthy, some great young players, Roberts, just never panned out.
Now they're up and coming and gone and all of a sudden to the south.
Sort of down and coming geographically, I guess. 18:42 to go in the second period. Lots of time. 2-0 Buffalo Sabres leading. I'm Paul Romanuk along with Gary Green, John Wells, and Bob McKenzie back at our NHL Control Center, watching all the other games for you. This is the place to be during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Keep you right on top of the action everywhere. Himlayev seems to be everywhere down in the offensive zone. Himlayev up against 3 Bruins, almost came away with it. Juneau finally back there to spoil the party for him.
He's a big and a fairly aggressive guy for the Sabres.
Here comes Juneau. Wesley breaking for the front of the net. Juneau trying to bide some time, but Doug Bodger all over him.
I'd say Bodger was guilty of holding on that play, or tackling.
Here's Wesley. Looking for Juneau, but Schmelik pretty close to him. Schmelik will tap it away. And offside called on the Buffalo Sabres with 17:47 to go in period number 2. 19 seconds remaining in the offsetting minor penalties.
Bodger, one of the bigger defensemen, 6'2", 213 pounds. John Muckler knows what Bodger can do for them in the offensive category. He ended up with 54 points this season. 6 of his 9 goals ended up being on the power play, where he, without question, possesses a very good shot.
And those 45 assists representing a career high for Doug Bodger.
Roger doesn't have the same type of a shot that Al McInnes has, like, for example, from the point, but he tends to use a pretty good wrist shot and puts it on the net, and it's pretty good accuracy.
Weimer for the Bruins, up for Roberts. Ledyard pinching well in from the point, able to keep it in momentarily. Here's Ledyard, Oates watching him. Leach getting back to take it from Andy Moog. Given a bump there by Bob Sweeney. Tim Sweeney kicks it up ahead. Team's back at 5-on-5. Offsetting minor penalties expired.
Bob Sweeney didn't have a stick, so he tried to grab Leach from behind just to slow him down.
Hey, you got to improvise. Tim Sweeney lost it. Presley trying to get by Roberts. Roberts hooked him up in the play. Here's Weimer for Boston. Adam Oates tries to quick pass it up there through the middle. Tim Sweeney up for Leach coming in. Sweeney breaking for the front of the net. And Schmelik just squeezes the life right out of that rush. Just stuck himself to Leach along the boards. 16:40 to play, period number 2. 2-0, Buffalo leading the Boston Bruins, but here comes Wesley with a head of steam, but without the puck as it's pulled away. Hannon comes back. Hannon looking through for Presley, spinning and shooting. Moog will hang on to it. Live from the Boston Garden, you're watching the NHL playoffs on TSN.
Performance is as much a part of greatness as the performance itself. That ability to deliver time after time is a quality you'll only find with the great ones. Domino's Pizza, only the great ones deliver.
Well, with 7 minor penalties in the first period, now we're going to get an opportunity to see some 5-on-5 matchups here.
Schmelik firing that one in. Smolinski along the boards. Himliev tied him up. Here's Schmelik. Himliev looking for it. He's bopped, but Hawerchuk will come away. Sweeney's with him. Sweeney to Hawerchuk. Offside called on the Sabres. Sweeney kind of spun around as they reached the blue line and put himself offside.
Dale Hawerchuk ended up with 96 points this season, only 16 goals, but he had 80 assists. The surprising thing with Hawerchuk, though, and a lot of questions surrounding his -17 plus-minus rating category, which drew a lot of questions. But Hawerchuk had a productive offensive season.
Well, it's sort of good news, bad news. The 16 goals, worst ever in his career. But the 80 assists, best ever in his career in terms of assists.
Well, Hawerchuk's always been a good playmaker, though, and in fact, many nights in Winnipeg when he wasn't necessarily even noticeable, you look at the score sheet at the end of the game and he end up with 4 points.
Sweeney up for Hannon, who just taps it in. Sweeney moving up to forecheck. This is Wesley for the Bruins. Schmelik squeezing along the boards to keep it in. Juneau. This is Shaw. He's got Oates, Juneau, and Neely up there charging in. Juneau along the boards will meet it. Neely gives Hannon a little nudge. Here's Juneau.
Buckler trying to get Mogilny a little bit more ice time.
Comes back now. Neely was in front, almost redirected that. Here's Mogilny. Hannon. Mogilny up there to forecheck. Sabres making some player changes. LaFontaine along the boards. Mogilny going towards a slap, but LaFontaine just belted. Wesley working him over pretty well. Airy tied up by Shaw. Oates will come back to claim the spoils. Juneau taps it by and out. Grant Ledyard will hustle over to pick it up.
We'll see whether Sutter tries to make a quick change here with Mogilny and LaFontaine on the ice.
And Mogilny and LaFontaine get off the ice pretty quickly. Ledyard sends it in. Hawerchuk going up after it. Trying to barge it loose along the boards. This is Shaw now for Boston. Airy gives him a bump. But Shaw able to get the puck out. This is Ledyard. Juneau right in. Big chance. And couldn't hang on to it. And a penalty coming up. Juneau again. And play is called. An interference penalty coming up. From good news to bad news for the Bruins. Juneau with a glorious opportunity right in front with the giveaway.
Ledyard's being called right there, though, for interference. Juneau ended up losing the puck Ledyard was running the interference on Duras. Ledyard knew that he couldn't get back into the play. So Juneau pretty frustrated after having lost the puck. What a season Joe Juneau had for his rookie year. Second leading scorer in the Boston Bruins, 32 goals and an amazing 70 assists.
This is the 5th power play chance of the night for the Boston Bruins.
With only 2 shots, that shows you what a good job the Sabres have done.
Here's Donato. Kvartalnov looking for it, but knocked away and cleared out and down the ice by Schmelik.
Patterson and Hannon up front doing the killing of this penalty for the Sabres.
Donato on the move. He's got Leach and Kvartalnov with him. Smolinski up there too. Schmelik knocks it loose. Hannon with Patterson, drops it to him. Ray Bourque. Patterson knocks that down. And great work by Patterson along the boards to eat up some time.
Patterson played a pretty key role, just as he's doing right now, but back when the Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup. Great defensive player.
Kvartalnov got caught there at the line. And the puck fired right back down the ice by Doug Bodger with 1:05 to go on the power play. Donato. Leach coming in. Juneau up there too, and Leach is hogtied and knocked to the ice by Holder. Here's Bourque. Sweeney knocks that down. Bruins looking incredibly disorganized in the offensive zone. Here's Sutton, shoots! On the man advantage, Boston really struggling.
Well, that's mostly because the Sabres are very aggressive on their pursuit of the puck. When the Bruins have got the puck, somebody's on them, just like there. Neely got bounced.
Here's Ray Bourque. Up for Neely. Wesley. All kinds of traffic down in front of Grant Fuhr. Here's Neely, shoots, scores! Neely shot it, and Juneau was right down in front, may have tipped it. Take a look.
Neely just stopped the puck with his left skate, shot it right on net. Juneau was parked right in front of Grant Fuhr. Watch it from this angle. It looked as though, from the first angle, that Juneau had deflected that puck. A little harder to tell by the second.
Well, Juneau gets it. And the ice is broken. Shaw fires it back in for the Bruins. Roberts up there knocks it down. Up for Duras in the corner, and Fuhr will hang on to it and slow things down right now.
That's exactly what Fuhr was doing. Just slow this game down right now. Try to take the crowd out of the game.
Buffalo leading by a score of 2-1. They get a couple of goals in the first period. Bruins coming back with one in the second. I'm Paul Romanuk with Gary Green here at the Boston Garden. Night number 1 of our playoff coverage in TSN. John Wells and Bob McKenzie back at our NHL Control Center watching all the other games for you.
Right now, I don't think the Bruins like that stoppage and play the least bit. I don't think they like the commercial timeout either, because Eddie Poland was looking towards the fact that they may have just lost a little bit of momentum. See if they can get it back.
Now, well, Poulin will try to get it back. He's up there ripping around. Duras is up forechecking as well. Here's Poulin. They'll give Mogilny a bit of a bump. Bodger. Hit by Duras. And Hines will tie it up just inside the line. Hines dump. No penalty, but Sutter working Koharski over from the bench. Fuhr will grab onto that with Hines trying to bust his way around Schmelik.
And no
looking for a loose puck.
No question, Fuhr will just grab hold and wait for another stoppage in play, and the Sabres will take their time in getting ready for this faceoff. Brian Sutter has got an amazing amount of production out of his rookies this season. And he's used enough players, that's for sure. He's used a total of 39 different players this season. There you see the top rookie contributors. Joe Juneau, of course, heading the list by a long shot. In comparison, Paul, the Buffalo Sabres have used 6 less players. They've used 33 players this season. Pittsburgh Penguins have only used 25.
There are nights when Brian Sutter has penciled 7 or 8 rookies into the lineup. And he was saying this morning, you show me another NHL team that's done that.
Helps a little bit when your farm team is just down the road.
And Ledyard flips it up over the glass. Also pays dividends, too, in the long run, because these rookies see a lot of ice time over the course of the regular season. I would think, Gary, they're going to be that much more confidence when the heat is on in the playoffs.
Well, it's experience, and for Brian Sutter as well, to be able to know that he can go to different players that he has seen in action this year that have played under pressure, then he's not afraid to go to them. And it seems, and we've brought this up a million times, is that when these players put on a Bruins sweater, is that somehow they all of a sudden can go out there and perform at their very best.
Brad May couldn't knock it down. Weimer shoots. Tim Sweeney trying to get it in front. Smolinski up there looking for it as well. Weimer moving in from the point. Couldn't keep it in. Roberts up for Smolinski. Sutton got the puck in, but really took a fierce hit after he gotten rid of it. Kimball had him lined up, and they continued to mix it up back behind the play. Odette. Juneau knocks it away. Weimer. Up for Adam Oates. Juneau is with him. Oates all the way to Juneau, to Roberts. Oates shoots. Oh, what a stop by Fuhr. And a penalty coming up right down in front of Grant Fuhr.
Adam Oates went to his backhand for the pass. Now watch. It took a bit, but he ended up getting it back. What a save by Grant Fuhr. Nice play right there. Gordy Roberts over to Oates, and what a great kick save by Grant Fuhr. There on the other hand, you can see the penalty that was handed out to Odette.
Odette is off, and the Bruins get their 6th power play chance of the hockey game. What a stop by Grant Fuhr, though.
And then Odette was all over top of Kimball.
5 Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers. Last one was in 1990. He didn't play that year. Bill Ranford was the hero, but still 5 Stanley Cup rings for Grant Fuhr. Do you think his finest hour was in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Gary, or was it perhaps in the Canada Cup when he was so spectacular the one year?
I think it's a toss-up, but I'll tell you what, if you ask Grant Fuhr that, he's probably going to tell you his finest moment under pressure has yet to come.
True enough.
And John Muckler is hoping it will be true, because a lot rests on the shoulders of Grant Fuhr right now. What goaltending battles we've got going on all across the league, but in this Adams division, it is really amazing. Hextall versus Patrick Waugh. Grant Fuhr against Andy Moog.
I mean, those 4 guys you named right there, every single one of them seasoned playoff veterans. Wouldn't exactly call Joe Juneau a seasoned playoff veteran. He did play in the postseason last year with Boston, and of course just had a fantastic rookie year. He's out there now for this power play. Donato up for Oates. For Juneau. Lodger watching him pretty closely. Donato at the line. Good work to keep it in. Down low to Juneau. Neely is in front. Juneau can't get it to him. Bodger eats him up, but Juneau leaps right back into the play. Here's Cam Neely. Donato. Juneau trying to center it. Couple of whacks at it. Neely fired it just wide. Neely down low to Oates. Battles in front. Tries to center it. And it's underneath Grant Fuhr.
Oates is down. Juneau's down. And so is Grant Fuhr. What a battle down close. Meanwhile, back at the point, Donato has really played well under pressure. He's made some amazing passes. There you see Neely just getting up from being parked in front of the net and then from being put down in front of the net.
And this is what you think of as prototypical Boston Bruins hockey. Go to the front of the net, jam it up, look for a loose puck or a bounce.
Juneau, Neely in there. Oates was already down, and 4 Buffalo Sabres trying to help Grant Fuhr out. That would be a good sign in itself to coach John Muckler. Watch Juneau as he goes across. Now watch Neely. Ha! Knocked it down with his hand and ended up putting on the blade of his stick.
1:22 to go on the power play for the Boston Bruins.
I'll say this much. The question that was asked of the Bruins, whether or not they're tough enough in their own end zone, they've definitely performed well in that department so far tonight.
Here's Bourque, feathers it in. That hit a leg. Bodger goes after it. Around for Ledyard. Bodger took a real punishing hit from Neely after he got rid of the puck, and he will head over to the bench. Schmelik comes over in relief of Bodger. 1:03 to go on the power play for Boston, and here comes Wesley. Up to the line with Oates and Neely. Neely. Down for Wesley. Oates. Wesley chopping away at it. Bourque under some pressure. No problem for him. He keeps it in. Ledyard. Bourque will knock it down. Ledyard thumped by Neely back behind the play. Neely really throwing the body around. Here's Oates with Neely going to the front of the net. Juneau's up there too. Here's Bourque. Up for Oates. Juneau down low will take it. Try to get it back for Oates. He does now. Look at the traffic in front. Bourque shoots. Blocked by Presley. Bourque again. Juneau. Oates bounces it up. 13 seconds to go. Bourque keeps it in. Juneau spins off the check. Here's Neely. Back for Juneau. To Bourque. Waits. Waits. Juneau. And Wesley taps it wide. Penalized player back on. Neely going after it. Juneau had it pulled away and the puck fired into the Buffalo Sabres bench. The Sabres wavered a little, but they didn't buckle.
Great effort on his part at blocking Raymond Bourque's shot. Watch this, folks. I could just feel this one all the way because he just drove that puck. Presley courageously went down to block it.
When he blocked it, I heard you go, oh.
Well, we're right here on top of the blue line, the Sabres blue line right now, so I could see Presley coming right out at Bourque, and Bourque right in his full windup when he let go with that shot. You notice the next time Bourque had the puck at the blue line, Presley kind of moved over and played on the left side.
You blocked a lot of shots when you played, didn't you?
I was never that foolish, Paul. That's why they pay goaltenders big money.
Here's Poulin. Just missed Duras. Don Sweeney snowshoeing up from the line. Battling up there with Mogilny. Duras comes up. Here's Hines. Mogilny. And he and Sweeney will hook up along the boards. Sweeney comes away with it. Up for Hines, who was pressured there by Bodger and knocked down, actually. Duras up there with Poulin. Poulin runs the nice pick so Duras can get through. Shaw up for Poulin. Hines looking in front. Still loose in front. Fuhr kicks that away. was like the puck was in suspended animation. It just sat there forever.
Sabres were worrying about the body, but forgot about the puck.
And icing called on Buffalo. 7:32 to go in the second period. And Buffalo continuing to nurse a 2-1 lead.
Bruins were all over the Sabres, and they have been. Ever since they scored that first goal, then the Bruins have had good pressure on Grant Fuhr, but Fuhr just continues to come up with pretty big saves. Duras got that shot away, and it was screened. Fuhr saw it at the last moment and kicked it out. Buffalo Sabres made the trade to get Grant Fuhr because they felt they needed a big money goaltender if they were going to, first of all, successfully get into playoffs and then do something once they got into playoffs. And that's the pressure that's on John Muckler, is to perform in playoffs.
I think there's got to be a lot of pressure on the Sabres GM, Jerry Meehan, as well. Brad May charging up. Weimer watching him closely. May looking for Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk's down back of the net. He'll go after it now in the corner. Odette is in front. Hawerchuk trying to knock it loose along the boards. May over there to help out. Smolinski now for the Bruins. Keith Carney moved up there trying to keep it in. Smolinski had it knocked away. Carney. Here's Leach. Odette will swat it in. Weimer being watched by May. Hawerchuk with Odette in front. Moog just steers that away. Fuhr leaves it there for Sutton. No, Fuhr will hurry it up himself around the boards. Hawerchuk for Odette. Just flips it in and heads to the bench. Sabres making some player changes on the fly with 6:24 to go in the second period. Wesley coming out. Picks his way through traffic. Sutton. Gets it by Neely. And by Himliev, his teammate, down the ice. Wesley with it now. Looking for Juneau up in the wing. Just flicks it off the glass by him. Ledyard.
John Muckler likes this matchup because he didn't want Pat LaFontaine to go up against Adam Oates tonight. He'll take Davey Hannon anytime in that role. And Sweeney.
Himliev fired it ahead for Hannon. Too far for him. Hannon will just hang back. Sweeney moves up the forecheck. Sabres again making some changes in the go. Carney knocks it down. Here's Sweeney. Mogilny. Looking for Carney. Here comes Oates back. He's got Neely and Juneau with him. Oates barging in, severs it in front. They score!
But LaFontaine is injured.
Neely scores the goal, but of more concern to the Sabres right now, perhaps LaFontaine is hurt.
Here's how it happens. LaFontaine ends up getting dumped. Neely does as well, but not before the puck has crossed the goal line. Watch LaFontaine. He was trying to control Neely going to the net. Neely beat him, and somehow LaFontaine, as he went down, was injured.
It looked almost as though he might have twisted a knee, the way he was tangled up there with Neely, who's such a strong man.
That's what they're looking at right now, is Pat LaFontaine's right knee. And Grant Fuhr was quick to summon the trainer to the ice, and a worried look on John Muckler's face.
Oates and Juneau pick up the assists on Neely's goal. 14:42.
Bruins weren't playing their game in the first period. And Brian Sutter wouldn't have been too happy in the dressing room. But he probably wouldn't have had to have said too much. The Bruins know enough as to what Brian Sutter expects.
You're watching the NHL Tonight on TSN. 2-2 with 5:18 to go in the second period. Be sure to listen up at the conclusion of this game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you tonight by Armor All.
Pat LaFontaine was helped off the ice and taken immediately to the dressing room. We'll try and keep you informed as to Pat LaFontaine's condition, but I'll remind you of this, folks, this is playoffs, and teams don't like to give out too much information when it comes to injured players.
Yeah, it's always funny once the playoffs are over and you hear about guys playing with partially separated shoulders. And
yeah, 2 months after the playoffs were finished.
Presley up there battling Roberts. Hannon out too. Donato spun around and dumped. Presley got a good piece of him. Cam Neely just tied this game up for the Bruins, trying to barge around Bodger. Roberts taps it in, but the Bruins had a couple in there offside.
The Bruins wrecking machine, the one-man wrecking machine, Cam Neely's done a pretty good job of getting the Bruins back into this hockey game. He's had some help, of course, from Juneau, crafty forward, and also Adam Oates, but it's been Neely who's led the charge. There's no question about that in the second period. He was pretty good at battling in the corners and in front of the net in the first period as well. Cam Neely looks like he's just in fine shape for this year's Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, they looked great the last few games, had 9 points in the last 5 games. As you mentioned earlier, Gary played roughly every other game down the stretch. Doubt that he'll be doing that in the playoffs. Fuhr up for Presley, but Wesley on him quickly. Icing waved off, Shaw back to pick it up. Sutton up for Hawerchuk, couldn't knock it down. Wesley. Here's Brad May now for the Sabres for Hawerchuk. Couldn't contain it. Smolinski for the Bruins, rubbed along the boards. Sweeney back to Wesley. Shaw just taps it in. Ledyard now for the Sabres. To Smolinski. Bourque. Now Ledyard. Duras taps it away from him. Leach comes up to help out. Smolinski's up there too. Smolinski buzzing around. And finally Mogilny comes out of the pack with the puck and gets it out. Here's Brad May. Gets to the outside on Sweeney and is belted. Mogilny. Little rough cooling along the boards. Ledyard shooting it. And Moog will hang on.
Well, that's why Harry Sinden liked Don Sweeney, and that's why Brian Sutter has grown to appreciate Don Sweeney. He might not be a big defenseman. In fact, he isn't, but he sure plays like one.
Oh, and he looks like one right now.
No, that's just a little paint off of the boards, Paul, a little red paint. Actually, the hit you see right here on May was just one of a few that Sweeney has given out in this game. Good body checks, you expect that in playoff competition, especially in a series here in the Boston Garden. Sweeney got cut underneath of his chin, and that's why all the blood on his sweater.
Well, on any other uniform, I wouldn't be quite so sure, but on a Bruins uniform, it just looks like it should be there, especially in the playoffs. Two-2 here at the Boston Garden, game 1 of this series between the Sabres and the Bruins. Sabres jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first period, but the Bruins have battled back. Sutton pinned up there along the boards. Odette will pick it up for the Sabres. And here's Sweeney over to Ray Bourque. Up for Dave Poulin. Back for Sweeney. Wheeling up there with Duras. Drops it off for Duras. Coming in. Shoots. Fearless stop. Here's Bourque. Waits for his mates to get on side. And Himliev was right on top of Bourque. So Andy Moog deciding just to hang on to that. And here we go. Odette knocked to the ice. Bourque will come in. Duras is up there. Now Sutton moves in along with Carney, and away we go. Everyone grab a partner.
Don Sweeney's going to make sure he's got his man, but I don't think the Bruins like the way that Raymond Bourque has been treated in this game thus far. The Sabres have been keying in on him. That was expected. But you can rest assured that the other Bruins will come to Raymond Bourque's aid. The Boston Bruins aren't a very big penalized team. In fact, they're the least penalized team in the National Hockey League, as we've talked about before, but yet they're a team that has played with aggressiveness, that played with a lot of toughness, but Brian Sutter likes their mental toughness, the way they take the body, and he also likes the way that they stay out of the penalty box. Their discipline, that goes a long ways.
One thing that Brian Sutter was harping on this morning when I talked to him was that teams with as much individual skill as his team has usually aren't good forechecking teams. But his team is.
Brian Sutter's team has played with passion this season, and that's why Harry Sinden went out and got Brian Sutter to coach his team. The Bruins are a team, they're almost made for Brian Sutter to coach. This is how it all started. Odette just took a little tap here, and Andy Moog on his way passing through. And then that's what ended up happening in the corner.
Up there on the right of your screen, a couple of the most aggressive participants were good old Don Sweeney, who's having one of those games for the Bruins. He was nose to nose with Yuri Himliev.
Oates is out there, and so is Dave Hannon.
So another power play chance for the Boston Bruins. A chance to bust this tie.
Patterson just gave Oates a real cross-check in the neutral ice.
Bourque. Oates in front for Neely. Patterson. Bourque keeps it in. For Oates. Oates shoots. Oates after it down in the corner. Neely will come over to help out. Juneau back for Oates. Glenn Wesley. Oates. A paper airplane flying onto the ice. Play continues. Juneau over for Bourque. Wesley just flicked it in. There was lots of traffic in front.
Good wrist shot. Head for the top corner.
Just missed. Here's Wesley. To Juneau. Oates centered it in front, and it squeezes right by Neely, and it's cleared out of harm's way with 48 seconds to go with the man advantage for Boston. Here's Bourque. Trying to get up ahead of steam, but he didn't have much room to move. Oates up ahead now for Leach. He'll step in. Kvartalnov is with him. Kvartalnov was dumped as he was breaking in. Sweeney watching him pretty closely. Shaw lost it. Presley takes off. Presley against Bourque. Sweeney up to join him. Moog the save. Sweeney in front looking for a rebound. Oates will start back. 20 seconds to go in the power play. Kvartalnov up there with Bourque. Moves in, shooting it. Fuhr picks it off the top shelf.
Great save by Grant Fuhr. He has really played well tonight. He has stood up. He hasn't been wandering. He's been staying within his crease, and his focus has been excellent. Watch this shot. Coming right at you, folks, but Grant Fuhr just moved quick as quick can be and snapped that one right out of the air. It was headed right for the top corner.
"17 saves, and certainly 5 of those have been of the great variety. Point blank, good shots.
So ironic in this series. Grant Fuhr at one end and his backup goaltender Andy Moog at the other end when they played together with the Edmonton Oilers, who were winning Stanley Cups.
Here's Bourque. Up to Wesley.
Pat LaFontaine, by the way, we found out he's got a bruised knee and he's due to come back to the game. That's good news for us and for the Sabres. Bad news for the Bruins.
Now, do you think it's just a bruised knee? Because you alluded earlier to the fact that teams aren't all that quick to give out information in the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, it could be an injured elbow.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen many times before, whereby a player's got a shoulder injury, but they've said it's a hip bruise that he's got. So anything that can distract the opposition from knowing what your injury is.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that be a calamity for John Muckler and the Sabres, for Pat LaFontaine, their leader, both offensively and otherwise, to be lost in the first game?
It would be a true shame, and a shame for the whole league, because Pat LaFontaine is truly a superstar that goes without a lot of recognition, but one of the great players in the game, and both on the ice and off the ice, Paul.
Yeah, the way he conducts himself, both dealing with fans and the media. And he truly is an athlete that a lot of kids can look up to and do. Here's Bodger, top of the slot, shoots! Donato after it. Schmelik back at the line. Donato and Poulin double team and come away. Just momentarily. Here's Hawerchuk. Up for Mogilny, shoots, scores!
What a big goal. A huge goal with such little time left in this second period. And the Buffalo Sabres will come out of this second period with the lead. Alexander Mogilny with that shot, but not a good play on Andy Moog's part. Hawerchuk just fed that puck into the zone. Mogilny with a good hard wrist shot. Moog got a piece of it, but then it just trickled by him across the goal line.
Well, Duras and Poulin had come away with it, started the rush down the ice, and all hands were on deck for the Bruins. They were all taking off for the offensive zone. And then Hawerchuk just kind of stopped things up. And just a massive play for the Buffalo Sabres. Dale Hawerchuk sending in Alexander Mogilny at 19:55. Hawerchuk with the assist on Mogilny's goal. And how about that? Sabres leading after one period 2-0 and leading after two by a score of 3-2. Our second intermission is coming up with a preview. Here's John Wells.
All right, Paul, in a moment we'll update the Islanders Capitals game. It is game one of that Patrick semifinal. After two at the Garden in Boston, the Sabres come back to take the lead on Mogilny's late goal. Live from playoff control, this is the NHL Tonight.
But for a very different reason in that second period was the one that Neely got for the Bruins, because it was on that goal that Pat LaFontaine bruised his knee, his right knee. And Gary, watching him out there skating around during the warm-up, looks like he's favoring it a little.
No, he's a little cautious, Paul, but he was stretching it out and he was trying to move to his left, to his right. We'll keep a close eye on him here, but he's starting, so I don't think that they would put him in any type of jeopardy. He must be fine.
And the Sabres are fine, thank you very much, to start this period with that lead. Carried a lead out of the first period and a lead into this final frame. Mogilny up there to forecheck. LaFontaine along the boards trying to knock it away from Poulin. Donato jabbed it off the dasher board. It was caught up there. Here's Duras. Sutton blocks that. Brad May bumped by Bourque. Here's Donato. Bourque to Duras. Poulin was straddling the blue line, battling with Himliev. And
could have been icing, but it was waved off.
Yeah, one of the players yelled ice, and the linesman, no way, waved it off.
Fans booing as another paper airplane has landed on the ice. Very dangerous. Actually, Bodger was skating backwards and got a little piece of it.
One came down during a Boston power play in that second period as well. Got some boos from the fans. They're handing out great big cards tonight as a promotion with Andy Moog's number on them, and most of the fans, not most actually, a few of the fans have gotten the bright idea of folding it into a super paper airplane. Buffalo up 3-2 here. John Wells and Bob McKenzie watching all the other action for you. I'm Paul Romanuk along with Gary Green. Night number 1 in the TSN NHL Tonight playoff trail. Pick it up again on Tuesday night after a night off tomorrow. Fuhr. Juneau right up there for the Bruins. Sweeney knocks it away. Neely knocks it loose. Neely and Oates two-timing up there trying to knock the puck towards the front of the net. Here's Moog. Cam Neely. Himlayev knocks it down, clears it back in around back of the net. Moog will park it there for Wesley. Glenn Wesley up ahead to Oates. Neely lets it go for Shaw, but it's poked away. Bodger went to take off and was upended, but Hannon will carry in. He locks up with Roberts. Hannon drills one, just missed the mark.
Shaw went sliding down right in front of that shot. Went over top of him.
Grant Ledyard will hustle back, and this one does go far enough for icing. 17:51 to go, third period. And 3-2, the Buffalo Sabres leading game number 1 of this series. Talked during the intermission, Bob and John were, about how good it is perhaps for Montreal to open on the road because of all the pressure on them playing at the Forum. Same deal for the Sabres, I think, Gary.
Well, at least for the Buffalo Sabres right now, as being the major underdogs in this series, is that coming in here, they could experiment with what they were working on this week, trying to go wide. They've tried to do that. They have definitely been able to, for the majority of the time, keep Pat LaFontaine away from Adam Oates, and that's something they wanted to do, but it's not always bad opening on the road. For Montreal, it's been an advantage because they couldn't win against Quebec in their own building this year.
Smolinski bumped by Ledyard, and that pops the glass loose down in front of the penalty timekeeper.
Ledyard ran Smolinski right into the glass and the boards. That's the results. Try to play run and gun type of hockey against the Pittsburgh Penguins. You might as well just hand them the next few games.
Well, did I miss something? I thought Craig Billington had a much better season than Chris Terreri did. Game 1 of the playoffs, and it was Terreri who got the call. Not that you can pin it on Terreri. He certainly was the least of the problems. Here comes Hawerchuk. Weaving up there with Presley, gets it to him. Ledyard pumps one wide. Presley going after it. Hawerchuk up there lurking off to the side of the circle. He'll go after it along the boards now, pick it up. Hawerchuk towards the net. Moog just steers that away.
Good smart pressure by the Sabres. They applied pressure in deep and had that third man high.
Here comes Presley. Nobody with him. Waiting for the reinforcements to catch up, and while he is, he's just rubbed into the play by Smolinski. Here comes Weimer. Drops it off. Presley breaks that up, and Brad May starts back. Up to LaFontaine, offside. And LaFontaine miffed at that call. He didn't think so. From the Boston Garden, you're watching the NHL Tonight on TSN.
Only one team can capture this title.
Boston Bruins did it the hard way coming down the stretch. 14 of the last 16 games they played were against division opponents, including the last 10 in a row. And still, no one was hotter than Boston down the stretch. Here's Hines. Out in front for Poulin with a shot. LaFontaine starts back up ahead. Here comes Mogilny breaking in. Mogilny shoots. Moog juggled it, but he kept it out.
That's the Mogilny breakaway speed that these fans, even though they're Bruins fans, have been looking for tonight. Mogilny just took right off. There's a neat little pass play. LaFontaine just bounced that puck up the middle, right off of Raymond Bourque. In fact, Mogilny spreads those legs and then just gets that shot away before he goes crashing into the end boards. Let's take another look at it from this angle. There's the pass by LaFontaine. And Mogilny coming right at you here, folks. Got that shot away. Andy Moog bounced it up into the air with his glove and then snapped it out again.
And you saw Moog spinning around. He made darn sure the trapper didn't go over the plane of the goal line when he was spinning back towards the net. Here's Bourque. Mogilny, big chance, big goal.
Oh, great play by the Buffalo Sabres, but a poor one by the Boston Bruins. That was a set play. Right off of the face-off, after Poland had tied up Pat LaFontaine, instead of staying with him, he broke out. Watch this. Raymond Bourque just comes around behind his net and then looks for Poland, but instead, he doesn't catch Poland at all. Mogilny's right there, snaps it out of the air, and puts it down on the ice to hammer it by Andy Moog. Raymond Bourque doesn't make many mistakes like that.
Previous to tonight, Alexander Mogilny had never scored a goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He shakes off those shackles big time with a couple. Himleyev fires it in wide. Number 13 for the Sabres. He'll go right back after it. Neely. Talked about the Bruins doing it the hard way down the stretch. They've got to do it the hard way the rest of the way in this one. Let's see what's going on elsewhere. John?
Let me take you to the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland. 1-0. Islanders leading third period. Scramble in front of Glenn Healy here. Pat LaFontaine takes a crack at it. So does Dale Hunter. And Hunter knocks it in as he goes down. It is 1-1 as the Capitals get back to even with the Islanders in the third.
Well, you said it. Alexander Mogilny has virtually vanished in playoffs in the past. In fact, I think the Buffalo Sabres and their fans were worried that he was once again going on early vacation, when up to the last game where he scored a couple of goals against Philadelphia, 6 previous games before that, he'd been shut out and had not played well.
He had played 12 Stanley Cup playoff games previous to tonight. No goals to show for it. Here's Neely. Up to Juneau. And Glenn Wesley had moved up. Being watched pretty closely. Wasn't going to be able to control that pass. Sweeney bumps with Neely. Back comes Juneau. Shaw is with him. Juneau with Shaw in front, centers it. Oates buzzing up there too, but he's a little bit late. Hannon moving it back up. Sweeney comes in. Himleyev up there with Sutton. He's knocked to the ice.
Great back checking by Joe Juneau.
And Juneau flies right back the other way. Shoots a bullet, and that's kicked away. And Fuhr will hold on to it.
I'd say Joe Juneau's in pretty darn good shape. He went up and down that ice 3 times and at top speed. First time offensively, second time back checking like crazy, and then he turned it on again. There's his first rush. He ended up circling the net. The puck was a little bit late for Adam Oates, but watch him back checking. He'd already caught his man. He got caught off balance, but no sooner had he got caught off balance than he flew out of his own end zone on another offensive opportunity. What a shift for Joe Juneau.
His first playoff goal tonight, although he did play 15 games last year in the playoffs after joining the Boston Bruins from the Olympic team.
Has he ever got a set of wheels on him? Oh.
You think he's as fast as Mogilny? Fuhr kicks that away.
That shift he was.
Weimer centers it, but Ledyard is right there to knock it down. Up to Hawerchuk. And Hawerchuk not quite as fast as Juneau or Mogilny. Ledyard. Moog blockers that away. Hawerchuk again. Battling up there with Roberts. Donato comes in to try to help out. And this is Wayne Presley to Hawerchuk. Only momentarily. Leach chopping back to center. Weimer drops it off. Kvartalnov right through for Leach. Sharp angle shot. And penalties coming up right down in front of Grant Fuhr. A few have been called in that zone this evening.
I don't know whether Weimer's going as well, but Ledgerd was definitely guilty of taking a shot in the head to Jim Weimer. They're both going off, and justifiably so.
Penalties coming with 14:09 to go in the third period, and Buffalo leading 4-2. They led 2-0 after one. Alexander Mogilny with the goal at 19:55 of the second period to set the team up nicely heading into this third period, and Mogilny with another one early in the third.
Well, Paul, as so often will determine it, the difference in the game thus far tonight, still lots of time left in this third period, but has been goaltending. Andy Moog has not had a strong evening. Grant Fuhr has.
And by all indications, that's the same story in the game going on tonight between Montreal and Quebec. We've heard John Wells and Bob McKenzie talk about how Patrick Roy is making the big saves. Ron Hextall has struggled at times. Bourque shoots and just floats that one through a big crowd. And Fuhr with the stop. And it's almost a cliche to talk about it, Gary, but I mean, defense and goaltending wins championships. End of story, case closed.
Well, I think there's been some arguments for that over the past, but the best combination is when you're like the Pittsburgh Penguins and you've got great offense, second best in the league this season, and at the same time have got strong defense, and that's the real key right there. If you just have very solid goaltending and good defense but haven't got the scoring abilities up front, then you're not going to win in this decade right now. You take a look at the number of teams that scored over 300 goals this season, and it absolutely blows your mind.
Here's Ray Bourque. Trying to find some daylight. LaFontaine is right on him, so Bourque will muscle up there. But a nice play by Ken Sutton, who dropped down to block that centering attempt by Bourque. Bourque had a head of steam as he was trying to get to the outside of LaFontaine. You know, just to get back.
Okay, go ahead. You want to argue with me?
Just to get back to that point, you look at the offensive totals of a guy like Mario Lemieux, virtually unchanged in the last 5 years, but yet the Penguins, with all that offense, didn't start to win until they started to play good defense.
Well, Scott Bowman's been a big asset to them in that department, but you take a look at how defensively the Pittsburgh Penguins were in the overall season last year in comparison to this season, and there's a huge difference. That's why I think they're a better hockey club this season and even tougher to beat. But yet last year, they had their weaknesses defensively.
Ray Bourque gets it down in for Poulin. Bourque right up there in the rush. And Hannon watching him closely. Neely comes over to help out. Neely and Bourque, Hall of Fame material. They worked it loose. LaFontaine back the other way to Sutton, shooting it. Poulin gets it to Roberts. 13:28 to play, third period, 1:15 to go in the 4-on-4 situation. Offsetting minor penalties ticking off. Here comes Bourque. Swings in. And Mogilny kicks it into gear in a foot race with Bourque. Mogilny right in, and Moog stones him. What speed by Mogilny. Boom, he was there.
Sabres needed some players, some key players to answer the bell. Mogilny's done that tonight. Look at this speed. Right by Raymond Bourque. Bourque knows who he's up against. Took a dive for it at the end. Mogilny really didn't get good wood on that puck right at the very end. How about the update in Washington, though, Paul?
Gary, it's 1-1. Capitals and the Islanders as we pick it up. 2 in a row for the Capitals. Glenn Healy tries to clear it. It goes off Dmitri Kvartalnov, and Dale Hunter is there to grab his second in a row. The Capitals have 2 straight, and the Capitals take the lead at 2-1.
That could be a very long series.
Well, we've talked about how the Buffalo Sabres are wearing that millstone of past playoff failures. Washington Capitals have a pretty big one of their own they're trying to shake off. Himliak, another breakaway, walks in, and Moog kicks that one aside. What is this, showdown? Oates back the other way. Trying to get outside on Schmelik.
This type of game plays right into the hands of the Buffalo Sabres. They've got some good players who have got the capabilities with good breakaway speed.
Icing called on the Buffalo Sabres. Tonight's game coming to you from the Boston Garden, live on TSN. 4-2, 12:24 to go. I'm Paul Romanuk along with Gary Green, John Wells, and Bob McKenzie watching other games at our NHL Control Center.
Well, I'm glad you're here tonight, Romy, because since my good pal Jim Houston was off doing baseball today, I've got somebody to argue about just the point about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, a reminder that last season they were 20th overall in the league defensively, yet won the Stanley Cup. But this year, that's why I don't think anybody can stop them. They're just good, sound team in every single category. And as you heard Bob McKenzie say, I can agree with it probably more. It may be a very short playoff series for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And there would be nothing better for Mario Lemieux than to get lots of rest and have 4 straight. You can bet his teammates are thinking about that. Helping the big Mario out.
Jim Houston will be back in his regular seat on Tuesday night. Kvartalnov coming back. Tried the drop pass, and Hawerchuk right there to take it away. Here's Bourque. Weimer. Shaw swings up. Oates was going for the front of the net. Kvartalnov comes up there to join the rush too. Shaw bumps Hawerchuk off the puck. And Bourque can't keep it in. Patterson watching him pretty closely. Here's Oates. And Sutton gets it back the other way. 11.5 minutes to play, third period. Buffalo leading 4-2 in game 1 of this best-of-7 series. Oates up to Neely. Shooting it. Rebound knocked away. Neely had a couple of players with him and elected to fire. Perhaps hoping for a rebound.
I think it was 3-on-1, wasn't it? Not a bad choice, though, when Cam Neely's got the puck to go ahead and shoot.
Brad May pokes it loose. Weimer. Duras. Leach will just shovel that in and head to the bench. Bruins on a line change. Keith Carney. This is May. Duras watching him. Weimer hanging back at the point, but they can't get the puck loose to him. And we'll have a face-off down in Buffalo territory with 10:40 to go in regulation time.
The Bruins, you could see in this last shift, were trying to get a little bit better stabilized in their forechecking pattern. They were trying to get them all back at once, and especially on that last few shifts, they were getting picked apart. Cam Neely's played a strong game thus far this evening. There's the opportunity. I think it was about a 3-on-1 there. You can count them. 3 white sweaters. But Cam Neely from that position wound up as though he was going to put that puck right straight through Grant Fuhr.
For the Sabres. Donato watching him. Here's Ledyard. Himliev up ahead. Mogilny set to take off and was knocked down.
He was tripped up by Raymond Bourque. Bourque got away with it.
And Mogilny coasting over by Don Kaharski while play was still going to voice his displeasure. Sweeney up there for the Sabres. Mogilny back for Sweeney. Tried to play it back to Ledyard at the point, but Leach will break out. Gets it up ahead now. And Leach was going for the front of the net, but Tim Sweeney couldn't get it back to him.
That's exactly what the Sabres have got to do, though. They've got guys with great speed, Mogilny especially, so he can't lose his cool right now and start yakking away at the officials. He's got to continue to concentrate on using his speed, and he'll end up drawing penalties because it's very difficult to catch this guy when he's playing at his best and his quickest. Raymond Bourque right here just tripped up Alexander Mogilny right in the neutral zone. You could see Mogilny turn to look to referee Don Kaharski to see whether or not it would be a penalty. It wasn't. And Mogilny was pretty upset with it.
Well, he was gone too because he'd beaten Bourque, and Don Sweeney was the other defenseman back, and you could see in the replay he wasn't going to catch him either. Now with the speed that Mogilny has exhibited. Here's Presley. Patterson will come up. Nobody with him. Sabres on a line change, so that's about the best he can do. Here comes Duras. Coolin is up there with him. Hines breaking for the front of the net as well. Here's Hines. Down low in the corner. He's double teamed. Carney all over him. Patterson hanging loose there too. Duras comes up. This is Ledyard. Up to Presley. Bumped by Glenn Wesley. Hines coming up. Bouncing off of Carney. Shaw tried to get it down to Duras. See, Hines was poised back there at the point, but it was knocked away just before it got to him.
Sabres are playing a gritty game in their own end zone, and that was the question that was asked of them most. Can they play that type of game?
We'll return to this most Canadian hockey telecast right after this.
LaFontaine hasn't played a lot in this third period. Of course, they've got the lead, a 2-goal lead, so why place Pat LaFontaine in any type of position? They need him for his offense, not his defense right now.
But while LaFontaine, you can probably expect, Gary, somebody conspicuous by their absence the last few shifts has been Doug Bodger. He blocked a shot at around the 5-minute mark of this period, headed to the bench and hasn't returned since.
Well, the matchup is continued. Adam Oates is out there at center ice. And of course, so is Dave Hannon.
How would you rate Oates as a face-off man?
It's pretty strong.
Schmelik going after it for the Sabres. Juneau for Oates. Rolls it in front. Roberts hustling back. Sweeney couldn't knock it down. Roberts up for Oates to Juneau. Jumps around his man Neely, striding towards the front of the net, but Juneau couldn't get it across to him.
In the face-off department, I think that Brian Sutter, though, will go to Dave Poulin before he'll go to Adam Oates. But Oates is very capable.
Here's Roberts. Brad May lining him up. Kind of backed into him. Neely. And the faithful getting on the Bruins a little bit here. Neely. Fuhr kicks that away. Neely right after it. Just bounces Sutton to the ice. So in a running battle all evening, Neely gets in the next word. Weaver shoots. That's tipped just wide. Oates tried to center it. Juneau's down there, but it's pulled away. Here's Weimer starting back up to the line. Had to wait for Adam Oates to get on side. He was occupied with Sutton up along the boards.
You're not going to score on Grant Fuhr from shooting from the outside.
Oates comes in over to Juneau. Leach following up too. Leach shoots and Fuhr sees it all the way.
Oates got in front of that shot, but Fuhr has had excellent focus tonight. The Bruins are going to have to continue to try to jam the front of the net and play Grant Fuhr in short.
7:20 to go in the third period. And it's 4-2. The Bruins have not scored since the 14:42 mark of the second period.
But with all that said and done, the Buffalo Sabres have done a very good job in front of Grant Fuhr tonight. They've made it difficult. They had their big problems in the second period controlling the Boston Bruins when the Bruins, led by Neely, were really forcing the Sabres in their own end zone, putting a lot of pressure on the net. This third period has been different.
Schmelik gets it to Keith Carney. Carney seeing increased ice time in this third period in the absence of Doug Bodger.
Well, Schmelik and Ledyard have done a very good job for the Buffalo Sabres tonight in their own end zone. Schmelik has played a lot, as has Grant Ledyard.
And that's Keith Carney who's seeing the extra ice time. He was called up 3 times this year. The most recent time was on April 5th.
An All-American defenseman in 1991. Late for Maine.
And Presley jumps the gun. Over on the right wing, they'll line up and do it again. Richard Schmelik. Up to Pat LaFontaine, who takes a shift for the first time in a while. His knee was bruised on a goal the Bruins scored about midway through the second period. And breaking up to the line, Donato with a head of steam was way offside. Kvartalnov just had to spin it back around. Carney being watched by Leach. Over to Schmelik. Schmelik again. Bourque keeps it in. Leach goes after it. Kvartalnov is in front. Donato up there to join. Presley just flips it out off the boards, and Sabres will make wholesale changes. Bourque comes back up to Kvartalnov. Tried to return the favor to Bourque, but it's broken up. Sweeney bumped by the other Sweeney. Poulin back to Don Sweeney. Poulin lost it. Here comes Hawerchuk in. Hawerchuk shoots, just hit the post.
Good low hard shot by Dale Hawerchuk, who had his head up.
Hawerchuk hit by Shaw, but not before he gets the puck back into Bruins territory.
I'll tell you, Dale Hawerchuk has played a very strong game for John Muckler here tonight, both offensively and especially defensively. Dale Hawerchuk is capable of some big defensive performances. Mike Keenan put him in that position 2 Canada Cups ago.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. Dale Hawerchuk, known as a big scorer in the NHL, but Mike Keenan used him perfectly in the defensive role, and he was great. Here comes Hannon. Poulin back there to pick it up. Up to Hines. 5:02 to go. LaFontaine steals it, walking right in. There it is, and Moog, goal line stand, no goal. That was poked in after the whistle.
It was close, though. Mogilny, I think, was the one that poked the puck underneath of the pads of Andy Moog, but I'm not so sure that puck wasn't already over the goal line by the time that the whistle actually was blown.
Well, you could read Kaharski's lips. He said quite clearly, I blew the whistle, and that's how it is stand.
Well, John Muckler was a little upset because he felt that puck had gone over the goal line before the whistle had blown, but clearly that was not the case. Let's watch and listen.
Like I said, the whistle had gone. You don't think so? He does, and he has the final say.
Well, the Sabres won't argue too much right now with a 2-goal lead. Wouldn't do them any good anyway, Paul.
Schmelik through lots of traffic, but gets it on goal. Bourque with 4:45 to go. Ledyard hustling back to get there, and icing called on the Bruins.
Some more debris had been thrown on the ice, and Brian Sutter is ready for almost anything, but I think coaches, especially those that have got the control going into the first round of playoffs, always have some big concerns. The teams that end up first or have home ice advantage often wonder as to how their team will perform at home when everyone thinks that they're going to sweep it very quickly.
Neely up ahead for Juneau. You know, Brian Sutter this morning was raving about his team's play away from the puck and how that's been the real key to the Bruins' success, both overall and down the stretch. And in that regard, Oates in front of the net. Juneau scores! Neely!
Well, the fans litter the ice some more here at Boston Garden. That won't help their team because right now they've got a little momentum going after this goal by Neely. There's the pass out from the corner. And there's the puck going right in behind Grant Fuhr. Just a nice little backhand pass out to Juneau. And then Juneau just uses great skill to put the puck right on the stick of Cam Neely, and Neely just flicked the wrist.
I'm going to say, Gary, this has been an uncharacteristic game for the Bruins in that they haven't been doing the little things away from the puck very well tonight for the most part, unlike the way they did all year. But they sure did a few things right in that last play, especially Joe Juneau with a beautiful pass.
Well, the Bruins, when they win, it's because they play their style of game. Tonight, the Buffalo Sabres have been able to take that away from them for a large part of this hockey game. This team has to play with grit. The Bruins, that is, they have to challenge Grant Fuhr, go to the net, and work the corners. When they do that, that's Bruins hockey, and that's how they were so successful, especially in the last half of this season.
Juneau up for Neely. Oates up there battling Hannon and Schmelik. Juneau comes away with it. Himlayev can't get it out. Neely to Oates, trying to cut in the side door, but it gets slammed shut there at the last second.
Hannon just got his body in front of Neely.
Himlayev tried to dance around Bourque. Nothing doing there. Mogilny up. Picks Juneau's pocket, centers it in front, but nobody there for the Sabres. They're on a line change.
Neely bounced Mogilny off the boards just before he headed to the bench.
Here comes Juneau. Drops it off to Oates. Sweeney through for Juneau. Couldn't quite knock it down. Glenn Wesley hustling back to pick it up. LaFontaine watching him. Brad May clears it back into Boston territory. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go in regulation time. 4-3, Buffalo leading. Here comes Wesley. Up there with Hines and Oates. Scores! Steve Hines ties it up.
This is the matchup that John Muckler's been trying to stay away from tonight. Oates' line out against Pat LaFontaine's. The dump in, the corner work, and the deflection by Hines right into the net past Fuhr.
To the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland, 2-1 Capitals leading. They're on the power play. It is Michael Pavanka with a shot, and Dmitri Kvartalnov is in front to deflect this one in behind Healy. That gives the Capitals a 3-1 lead on the Islanders. 4 minutes to play, third period in Landover.
3 minutes to play here, John, and a 4-4 tie. Hines scoring at the 17-minute mark, 2 goals in a minute 16, and bang, the tables are turned just like that.
John Muckler was trying to get his team regrouped at the bench. He had Grant Fuhr over. Now they're cleaning the debris off the ice, and now Dr. Harsby right now is trying to get the line change. The last player, Sutton, that John Muckler was trying to sneak onto the ice. He sent him back to the bench.
Here comes Bourque. Up there with Juris and Hines. Hines looks in front. Poulin breaking up there. Poulin now into the corner. 2:42 to go. Bourque into the slot. Poulin couldn't knock it down. Kearney up to the line. LaFontaine. Here's Kearney. Ray Bourque. 2:15 to go. Here comes Sweeney. Drops it back. Juneau fires a shot. And Fuhr will hang on to it.
The drop pass and the quick shot by Joe Juneau, who just blistered that shot right on Grant Fuhr, who had to do the splits to make the save.
Juneau has had a great night for the Boston Bruins. Combined with Neely and a couple of goals. Shaw can't keep it in. Sutton. Ledyard starts out. Back to Sutton, who's belted to the ice for his trouble. Shaw going after the loose puck. He'll pounce on it along the boards. Trying to get it up to Neely. Oates in front, centered it. It's knocked away. Juneau knocks it loose. Himlayev taps it outside the blue line. Up ahead. Bob Sweeney going after it. Bounced off the puck by Glenn Wesley. 1:15 to go. Here come the Bruins pouring in over the line. Juneau up there with Oates and Neely. Oates flies in there after it. Neely's up there too. Going after Bob Sweeney. Keith Kearney will bring it out for the Sabres. Up ahead for Patterson. He's tied up. Less than a minute to go in regulation. Bourque to Juneau. Leach and Oates are up there tight roping along the line. Schmelik tying up Leach. Hawerchuk able to relieve the pressure for the time being. Icing waved off. Tim Sweeney. 35 seconds to go. Oates crisscrossing there with Leach. Here's Ledyard. Leach watching him. Sutton. Sees some daylight. He's able to get it out to center. Bourque back up for Leach. Here comes Presley. Across for Ledyard. Shoots. Rebound in front. And Moog scissors the legs together to hang on. 3 seconds left.
Oh, did you see Andy Moog just go flying back, knocking his head against the ice? I don't know whether that was a little bit for effect or to try and draw a penalty. There's the shot. Now watch. Moog goes down, but he doesn't have the puck underneath him. He gets a little help. Watch this right now. I think it was a little dramatic, Andy.
3 seconds left. Buffalo with a face-off in the offensive zone. LaFontaine will take the draw against Dave Poulin. And looks as though the trigger man is Grant Ledyard. Back just off the top of the circle, just out of your picture on the right. And Brad May all set to crash the front of the net. Back just out of Ledyard's reach. Hello, it's overtime. What a third period turnaround by the Boston Bruins to tie this one up. We've got overtime here at the Garden. Let's go back to our NHL Control Center. Here's John.
Quickly, Paul, let me send you to the Cap Center in Landover, Maryland, into the final minute there now with the Capitals leading the Islanders 3-1. And we'll pick it up now with Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall of Sports Channel New York.
The Islander goal is empty. We're into the final minute of play. The puck is dumped in. We welcome our audience in Canada on TSN. Jiggs McDonald and Ed Westfall here at the Capitol Center. The Caps up 3-1. The Islander net empty, and Huey Krupp has dumped the puck in for the Islanders. They're in the dark blue uniforms. That's Steve Thomas, Gary King, and Turgeon. All three tight in the far corner. The puck finally comes loose. Calle Johansson, who was assistant on a couple of Washington goals, moves it around but not out. Gary King's pass was blocked, and here's Ridley with an empty net up ahead. Choked off by King. The Thomas on right wing. Can't get it to Turgeon, and here's Kelly Miller backing it off the boards and down the ice. Huey Krupp dropped back with 19 seconds remaining in the third period. Caps about to take a 1-0 lead in the series. Hatcher blocks the pass. Up to Ridley. Krupp stepped in front of him. Down to the final 10 seconds. Gary King tips the puck into the Washington zone, and this crowd stands to applaud the Caps. They've had their problems in recent months, especially against Patrick Division teams, but tonight they have defeated the Islanders by a score of 3-1. Rick Tabaracci held the
New York Islanders had a 1-0 lead right into the third period. The Capitals came back and scored 3 in a row. Costly penalty to Pat Flatley at 2-1 as far as the Islanders were concerned.
Islander captain got a little bit reckless out there, threw probably a gratuitous elbow in the face of Ally Afraidy, and that killed any chance there was for a comeback.
What do you say about Dale Hunter? He gets 2 goals for the Capitals in the comeback, and both right out in front of the net, mucking around in typical Hunter style.
Give the Washington Capitals a lot of credit. What they did was they played a very patient game. They dominated the second period, but couldn't get the puck past Glenn Healy. All sorts of action on his doorstep all night. Finally started to pay off in the third period, and as you said, Dale Hunter scoring 2 goals from there, and then Kristich on the deflection on the power play. A very patient approach by a Washington Capital team that's had its troubles this year. Very mature team to be able to do that in this game.
So the Islanders take a 1-0 lead in that Patrick Division semifinal. Coming up in just a moment, all the highlights from this day one of the 1993 Stanley Cup playoffs. We're headed for overtime in our game in Boston with Buffalo and Boston even at 4.
There has been, John, this place, the decibel level picked up, about, I'd say, tenfold late in that third period when the Bruins finally started to get a bit of a roll going.
But I'll tell you what, Paul, it was pretty quiet, though, when all of a sudden Alexander Mogilny scored early in the third period, and that was because Raymond Bourque gave up the puck, something he very rarely ever does, but what a giveaway right to the person you don't want to give it to the most. Mogilny just blew that one right by Andy Moog. Hit, then watch what Neely does. He heads straight to the net. Oates puts the puck out to Juneau. What a neat little pass, a backhand pass by Juneau to Neely, and away they go. You could feel it coming in this building, and it just did exactly that. There's the dump in. Now watch, Fuhr goes out to stop the puck right here, but as he puts it around, he gives it right to Juneau, who just throws it right across in front of Grant Fuhr, and Hines just deflected that puck in nicely, and here we are right into overtime.
Live from Hockey Control in Toronto, this is the NHL Tonight. And we await overtime at the Garden in Boston. Right now, we're going to take you back. And Gary Green.
Well, these two teams played overtime twice last year when they met in the playoffs. Adam Oates scored the winner for the Bruins once, Ted Donato for the Bruins another time, so Buffalo was shut out in OT. They, of course, lost the series.
Well, will Pat LaFontaine score for the Buffalo Sabres? In overtime, they're going to need his offense. They spotted him in the third period once they were up 4-2, but then had to come back with him. LaFontaine and Alexander Mogilny. Mogilny has been hot tonight, but for the Bruins, this is the man to me. Cam Neely, that has led the charge as far as the Bruins getting back to playing Bruins hockey, but Joe Juneau has been with them many a time, and has he ever been sharp tonight?
So a great start to our playoff coverage here on TSN in this 1993 playoff year. Overtime. Boston and Buffalo, and you got the best seat in the house. Here's Sutton. Carney moving it down into Boston territory, and here comes Mogilny. Races up there. And races right towards the front of the net with LaFontaine, but Moog's going to hang on to it.
What a great skater Alexander Mogilny is, and he has shown us in this game tonight that I think that he's ready to play. And put aside all those disbelievers have playoffs. And that's going to be important to the Sabres that he does. He just outraced everyone else to get to that puck in order to stop the icing from being called.
John Muckler has juggled around the Sabres forward lines all night tonight, as has his counterpart Brian Sutter. But right now he's got Brad May up on left wing with LaFontaine and Mogilny. May a bit of a grinder and a plugger out there with the two sharpshooters.
Dave Poulin once again going to be lined up against Pat LaFontaine. Don't have any, or I should say the Sabres don't have any problems in playing aggressively against the Boston Bruins.
That face-off turned into more of a rugby scrum with the puck being shoveled out. Poulin was racing up there hard, but couldn't get there before Ken Sutton. Let's see what's going on in Quebec. John?
All kinds of excitement there. Montreal led 2-0 all the way. 2 goals in a hurry for Quebec. Here's the second one. Claude Lapointe for Joe Sakic. Sharp angle. 47 seconds to go. Quebec gets back to even with Montreal. It is 2-2, dying seconds of the third.
Oh, what a dandy we've got going there.
Hey, that's the same as this one. Sabres blew the lead. Late in the game, Bruins tied it up. Up in the draw. Mogilny tried to tee it up. That was blocked. Duras throws it in. Racing up there trying to forecheck, and Hines right into the net.
Throws the water bottle right over the net. Grant Fuhr just stepped aside. Hines looking. The referee, Don Kaharski, asking why there wasn't a penalty.
Go to the net, they tell you.
Well, I don't think when you look at it there that he was at all dumped. He was pushed a little bit, but then lost his balance, went crashing feet first into the net. A big goal for Hines tonight.
He played 7 games in the playoffs last year with Boston, saw spot duty. Poulin and LaFontaine again on the faceoff. Back to Bourque. And that's tipped up over the glass and out of play.
Well, Raymond Bourque will be hearing for at least another day about the bad giveaway that he gave to Alexander Mogilny tonight. Bourque and Andy Moog have both had tough starts tonight, but both capable veterans that I'm sure will rebound for game number 2.
Could count those types of giveaways for Bourque on one hand throughout the course of the season. LaFontaine and Poulin again. They've taken every draw so far in overtime. Here comes LaFontaine. Gets it across. May charging in. LaFontaine and Mogilny going for the front of the net, but Sweeney lassoed May on the way in. Puck gets by Sutton. Poulin up there with Duras. Here's Duras now. Hines going for the front of the net. Sweeney with a shot. That's blocked. And here comes Mogilny. Cuts right in. Shooting. Rebound. Moog with a spectacular stop. LaFontaine will knock it down. Now pulled away from him. Here comes Duras just clearing it in. Bruins will make a line change. And the puck cleared up over the glass and out of play. Alexander Mogilny does it again. Creates a great scoring chance. But that time Andy Moog just stared him down.
Mogilny's unbelievable. I mean, he has just got some unbelievably explosive getaway speed and great puck handling skills as well, as he put that puck right between the legs of Don Sweeney and then got himself into scoring position. Watch this. Sweeney got caught playing the puck and not the body. Moog made the first save. Mogilny, with his quickness, even tried to get his stick on that rebound. He won't be on the bench long.
And just before that, Brad May had a nice rush down the left wing, but Don Sweeney wrestled him to the boards. Took the starch out of that.
Sweeney took the man that time.
Here's Neely. Big guns out there for Boston now. Neely, Juneau, Oates. Neely shoots it in. Weimer can't keep it in. Ledyard. Absolutely crunched. Loses his helmet and the puck.
What a chance for the Sabres.
Himliab right up there. Here's Neely. Schmelik back to pick it up. Himliab couldn't knock it down. Weimer with a shot. Neely goes after it. Neely cruising in there looking for a loose puck. Here's Sutton. Himliab bumped by Weimer.
Himliab is having a difficult time taking that puck off the boards in his own end zone. He's a right-handed shooter playing the left wing.
Sutton up off the boards. Here's Roberts. Weimer. Leach breaking in. Sweeney going for the front of the net. Oates hanging back along the boards. Couldn't keep it in. This is Presley. Up ahead to Patterson. Waiting for some help. Throws it across in front. Nobody there. Here's Patterson trying to center it now. He's tied up. Oates will start back. Knifing it out to center. Hannon back there for the Sabres. Wesley. Lost it to Carney. Presley trying to come in. Oates gets it up. Sweeney to Leach. Wesley breaking up there too. Here's Leach. Tried to get it back through the slot, but Patterson was right on him. This is Donato. Winds it up. Fuhr parking it for Holder. Holder gives it away to Duras momentarily. Now Hawerchuk will start out. Cuts his way to center. Up ahead for Brad May. And offside called on the Sabres. Let's go back to Quebec and see what's going on. John?
They're in the overtime intermission in Quebec City. Joe Sakic and Martin Rosinski got the Nordiques back to even 2 goals, final minute and a half. There's Guy Carbonneau going down, and Jacques Demers is incensed because there was no penalty on the play. Regardless, it is 2-2, and we're awaiting overtime at the Colisée in Quebec City.
And we are in overtime at the Boston Garden. 16-17 to go in the first overtime period. Sabres had a 4-2 lead with time winding down in the third. 2 goals in a minute 16 tied it up, and they've been taking the body all night, have the Bruins. Ledyard got bumped there by Juneau.
Mogilny's out on this line with Dale Hawerchuk. Brian Sutter has got Poulin's line out against them. Mogilny is the dangerous man for the Sabres tonight.
And Poulin out once again to take an important faceoff. And this time he'll take it against Dale Hawerchuk. Bourque back to get it. May and Mogilny up there. Hines getting it out to center, chopped right back in. Bourque up for Poulin. To Duras. Out there with Hines. Duras to Bourque. Poulin will catch up with it along the boards. Shoots it through in front. Duras took it on his skate. Down to the corner, Ledyard wraps him up. Here's Poulin, bashing around, gets in front, shooting! Big stop by Fuhr! Sweeney knocks it down.
Good job by Schmelik. He took his man in front of Grant Fuhr, helped him out.
Himliab up to Hawerchuk. He'll peel in over the line to Mogilny. And Mogilny just had to fire it in. Sabres were on a line change. There was nobody going for the net. Juneau dips and dives up over the line. Wesley and Oates up there. Here's Neely firing a shot. Rebound off the boards. Oates barging up there after it to Neely. Nobody in front. And Neely forced out. Dumps Himlayev. Here's Roberts. Sutton. Up ahead to Sweeney. Over to Himlayev.
Himlayev's not afraid to get that puck in the neutral zone and dump it down deep. Something the Sabres had to work on against the Bruins.
Hannon sends it in. Patterson up after it. Couldn't knock it loose. Wesley. Sweeney watching him. Schmelik will dump it back in. Sabres have to clear the zone to nullify the delayed offside. Here's Glenn Wesley. 14:03 to go in the first overtime period. 4-4. This is Holder. Here comes Hannon. Presley is up there with him. Knocked away by Donato. Coming back with Sweeney. Donato bucked out along the boards by Schmelik. Patterson, or the Sabres can't push it out. He'll go back after it. Second chance, and this time Shaw can't keep it in. Icing waved off. Bourque back to pick it up. LaFontaine comes over the boards. Brad May back out there too. And the puck just sitting loose there by May. Presley going after it. May is hurt. He is laboring to get off the ice. And that hurts the Sabres. He's been one of their best players in overtime. LaFontaine dumps it up. Hawerchuk exploding in on goal, and offside call on Buffalo.
Boy, Hawerchuk sure got in there quickly. Meanwhile, May is injured and on the bench, and he was just doing his darndest to be able to crawl onto the bench so that the play could continue. Looks as though he had the wind knocked out of him.
And all of that took place right over in front of the Sabres bench. May was attempting to keep the puck in the Bruin zone. And he took it. Here's Carney. Mogilny, watched by Duras. Don Sweeney will fire it back in. Poulin knocks it loose. Here's Bourque. Duras in front. Bourque given a rough ride along the boards by Sutton. Bourque still. Look at him hang on to that puck. Tries to punch it on goal. Just a bouncing puck. Carney gets it up ahead. Sweeney. And a couple of Sabres converge on it. Ledyard tags it up for the icing call.
That was a good dump out by Carney, who just flipped that puck high in the air into the neutral zone. Something like Larry Murphy has the great capabilities to do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And boy, when you've got a couple of players on the Buffalo Sabres, especially like Mogilny, and you've got a defenseman that can flip that puck out and have it lay in the neutral zone, then you'll get some breakaways as a result of it.
Grant Fuhr making a miraculous save earlier in overtime off of Dave Poulin from point blank. Adam Oates has been buzzing around up there too. And Oates out to take the face-off.
Sutter hasn't fought this matchup. Hannon against Poulin.
Here comes Neely. Neely up there with Donato and Oates. Oates parked in front. If Neely can get it to him. Here's Donato to Neely. Oates looking for it. Holder will pick it up for the Sabres. Here's Shaw. Himlayev up there, trying to poke it loose. Himlayev has looked strong in the overtime period, had a good chance to score. And right now he's just trying to knock it loose, lurking there in the weeds, waiting for the loose puck. Himlayev centers it in front. Schmelik shoots. Hannon goes after it. Sutton keeps it in. Not for long. Shaw up there for Wesley. And the Bruins will make a change. Leach bounced into the boards by Sutton. Gord Roberts hustling up there, trying to center it. Tim Sweeney took a whack at it in back of the net. Smolinski couldn't maintain control. Played 9 minutes of this overtime period. 4-4. Game 1, Boston and Buffalo. Here comes Hawerchuk. Patterson breaking for the net. There's the shot. Holder rifles one in. Great pressure by the Sabres, but now the Bruins will turn it around. Here comes Leach. Shoots. Puck rolling up on the board. Smolinski trying to center it. Bruins on a change, so there was nobody in front. Hawerchuk up to Presley.
Some big saves by Andy Moog.
Now Holder just smoked one in from the left point. Ledyard up to LaFontaine. Mogilny's out there too. LaFontaine dumped. Here's Hines walking in, gets loose, can't get the shot on goal. Carney loses the battle to Poulin. Hines is in front. Sweeney's up there too, along with Duras. Mogilny drops it off for May. Puck all the way around, Sutton over to keep it in. And it just bounces off of Duras and comes out. Sabres have to clear the zone. Puck fired right back in. And icing is called on the Buffalo Sabres. 9:35 to go in the overtime period. 4-4 hockey game.
Andy Moog has redeemed himself in this overtime by making a few good saves. This is one of them. Watch Holder. He just drives that puck from the point. Andy Moog made the first save. There's the rebound that came out in front of him. Ooh, that was close to being offside, but Hines was able to keep that foot on the blue line long enough. Grant Fuhr played him very safely all the way.
And you see who was back checking on the play was Brad May. It was at a great overtime period. I'm Paul Romanek with Gary Green at the Boston Garden. And we are in overtime. John Wells and Bob McKenzie back at our TSN Control Center, keeping an eye on that Montreal-Quebec game, which is heading into overtime at Le Colisée after the Canadiens blew a lead late in the game. And that's been the script here. Buffalo in control until the last half of the third period with a 4-2 lead. Here's Oates trying to center it in front to Neely. Bob Sweeney drops it back. Himliev fires it in. Not much in the shot. Himliev going back for the front of the net. Sweeney circles out, shoots, scores! It is over. Sweeney ends it.
Bob Sweeney with a big slap shot right from the slot. He couldn't be happier. He was let go by the Boston Bruins last October in the waivers. The Buffalo Sabres picked him up, and he is one happy hockey player after that shot.
11:03, the time of the winner.
Sweeney only had one assist in 7 games against the Boston Bruins, his old team this season, but he sure came up with a big goal here tonight.
It was a nip and tuck game, and the Sabres take the final nip at 11:03 of overtime.
Now watch, Andy Moog was screened on this play. How many bodies were in front of him? You can hardly blame him for letting that one through. I went right straight through his pads. Number of bodies set up. Sweeney had all the time in the world, though, and that's what Brian Sutter will be asking. Why did Bob Sweeney have so much time and room to shoot? And
it almost looked as though it may have gone off of Roberts' skate on the way in.